In the vast, lawless universe, where the currency of survival is bartered through gunplay and bloodshed, only a fool, or a vault hunter, would land on Pandora. A forsaken wasteland of the stars, with bandits as far as the eye can see and a treasure so legendary most folks die trying to even catch a glimpse of it. Welcome to your next gig, Space Cowboy. Whilst I typically tend to cover mostly JRPGs on this channel, my partner and I were looking for a game to play together on separate Nintendo Switch systems. Having played through Borderlands 2 with a friend previously, I thought, why not give the original a try? Borderlands was developed by Gearbox and first appeared on the Xbox 360, PC, and the Sony PlayStation 3 in 2009, presenting a blend of first-person shooter and RPG in a unique visual style. Is Borderlands worth your time and commitment? Let's find out. For the purposes of this review, I played the game on the Nintendo Switch as part of the Borderlands Game of the Year Edition bundle that released in 2019. Now, I must preface that my partner is not a gamer, and most of you would already know this if you've been watching my channel for a while. So this often led to scenarios of humour where he couldn't aim, misjumped, and died a lot. Watching my partner, once barely able to hit a skag at point blank range, evolve into a proficient killing machine in his own right was like seeing Pandora polishing a flawless diamond from a fossilized chunk of feces. Impossible seeming, but evidently achievable with time and determination. Observing the shift in his thought process from standing out in the open and dying every couple of minutes, to taking cover and utilizing his sense of judgment to use the best weapon for each situation, meant that he went from being deadweight to a valued ally during our search for the vault. Overall, we played for around 50 hours of game time, including a romp through all the DLCs which saw us locating the legendary vault, dealing with zombies, finding the secret armory of a general with a predilection for male touch, contending with revolution-incited claptraps, and topping it off with the cherry of a battle arena gauntlet. If the overall package was a hefty glass of iced milk, all the boys would be coming to the yard, becoming bullet hole ridden and contributing to our overall kill count, whilst also culling the bandit population of Pandora. Borderlands begins by having you select from one of 4 predetermined characters that will serve as your representation upon the world of Pandora. I went with the hunter Mordecai, whilst my partner went with the siren Lilith. Depending on who you choose, your playstyle and the abilities that you can learn will be different. Where Mordecai is skilled at distance combat with a sniper rifle and has an avian companion in Bloodwing, Lilith is a stealth artist who can render herself invisible whilst improving her movement speed, as well as being versatile with a range of weapons in close combat. With our characters chosen, we embarked into the grisly world of Pandora to be greeted by a claptrap who gifted us both with an echo communication device and a heads-up display that slowly began to update our HUD as it loaded, before being unceremoniously interrupted by bandits. And this lack of respect for the narrative, and not taking itself seriously, permeates the entire experience. It was very different to the types of games I'm used to playing, but also not unwelcome. An important thing to note is that whilst you are characters within the plot of Borderlands, the story doesn't revolve around you, but rather lives and breathes through its NPCs and their lives and struggles. Due to this, more focus can be given to getting to know the world rather than having to worry about the motivations and desires of your characters. All you need to understand about yourself is that you're a vault hunter seeking the next big stash. Pandora, on the other hand, projects an environment of loneliness and isolation, enhanced even further should you decide to take up the mantle alone. For this reason, I enjoyed playing the game with my partner as we could experience the highs and many lows together and get through the sordid adventure. When accepting quests, I felt it wasn't necessary to read all the flavor text to know what was going on. I know, this is very unlike me, as it did nothing other than add a bit of spice to a narrative that didn't really care about my character. So why did I need to care about it? Pandora's landscape feels like the love child of a junkyard and a desert, where rust is a currency and even the rocks look like they have given up on life. It's a place where every corner you turn feels like nature and civilization had an ugly divorce. There is little difference between the arid and unhospitable regions that you'll make your way through either on foot or by vehicle. You'll be wending your way through debris-strewn rocky wastelands one minute, and mired in swampland that has been polluted by the waste deposit of weapon manufacturing and mining the next. And all the while, the locals will be trying to kill you. Even the settlements themselves, or what could be considered no more than shantytowns, are pieced together with scrap metal and other garbage, highlighting that the citizens are eking out a semblance of existence, just struggling to survive. If you were planning on taking a vacation here, it would be a one-way trip to the morgue, with the amount of dirt, rust and disease that runs rampant across the planet's surface. As we were playing the game, moving from one desert area to the next inhospitable one, I had to wonder how people could live like this. There's no evidence of clean water, nor areas for planting crops or raising livestock. Are the citizens of Pandora eating the roadkill remains of Skag just to stay alive? And what's a Vault Hunter without a world to hunt in? Though Pandora may not offer 5-star luxury accommodations, its dusty and disease-ridden wastelands hide secrets worthy of the struggle. You will always have a main mission that will be marked on your map. However, as you are Vault Hunters, it would be remiss of you not to pick up any other leads that you may come across in the form of side quests. These can be taken either from the various NPCs or from the bounty board. There is no limit to the number of quests that you can have in your log, and you can choose what you'd like to focus on, which will update your minimap to show you where the next stage of the quest is. Regarding the quests themselves, it always pays to be cautious and never tackle missions that are at a higher level than your own, even with 2 players. We did this at the beginning of the game and got owned, which taught us this lesson the hard way. Throwing yourself over and over against an objective that is a higher level than your own is a quick way to find yourself losing a lot of cash through respawning. Playing on separate Switch devices did sometimes present issues which turned into a mini comedy of errors with some of the glitches we had to contend with. For some reason, any player other than the host will have difficulty with the minimap loading, or a quest marker showing. Sometimes I felt less like a Vault Hunter, and more like a GPS for hire, leading my partner through Pandora's unforgiving terrain, whilst his map kept trying to send him into places where he would not be able to return from. To the game's credit though, the servers were very stable, and we experienced only a couple of dropouts during our entire playthrough. Latency was also low, meaning that I could see everything my partner did in real time, both embarrassing and pride-inducing. Borderlands also allows cross-language play, which permitted my partner to play in native Japanese, whilst I played in English. To deal with the bandits and other hostile creatures that Pandora presents, our heroes can rely on their weapons, slight hand-to-hand combat, or special abilities. Borderlands doesn't just hand you guns, it throws them at you like candy from a parade float, beckoning the inevitable cavities that will hemorrhage your finances faster than you can say, Iridium. Pistols, rifles, weird alien technology that shoots combobulated blobs of reason that strip away enemy shields. By the end, your inventory feels more like a flea market for mayhem. And if you're not careful, you'll be swapping guns like a fashionista on laundry day. Just be sure to shave those legs and pits first. From the beginning, you can equip 2 weapons and eventually find upgrades that expand this to a maximum of 4, though you can carry a much larger arsenal within your inventory, which can also be upgraded by rescuing stranded claptraps who will reward you for your time. Weapons are also sorted into various types, each with their own proficiency rank that upgrades as you use them. Due to the game being a looter shooter, you will inevitably come up on an issue that plagues all hoarders: a full inventory. Once your inventory is full, you need to drop weapons on the fly in order to pick up better ones. And you better hope that you can do this quickly, else your partner will pick up all the purple tiered weapons before you even had the opportunity to blink sand grit from your eyes. Borderlands is heavily influenced by the likes of Diablo, so expect an excessive amount of arms scattered across the world. And no 2 playthroughs will ever be the same due to the sheer number and variety of weapons that are available to find, as these are generated randomly and also scale based on rarity. If you want to get the super rare items, you'll need to unlock them via the golden chest, which can only be opened with the golden key. These are not found in-game, but rather by entering shift codes into the game itself, or on the gearbox menu. As my friend that I played Borderlands 2 with is an avid collector of everything free, he had previously notified me of when shift codes were available, and thus I had a large number of keys left over for this playthrough, as they can be used across any Borderlands title. In addition to combat expertise, each character has their own special ability which can be called upon in dire situations. Mordecai can use Bloodwing to attack the enemies, whereas Lilith can turn herself invisible. These skills, as well as a character's aptitude for certain abilities, can be upgraded in the character's skill tree when they level up. There are 3 streams for each character, so choose what best suits your playstyle to support your adventures across the arid surface of Pandora. Should you happen to fall in combat, whether it be by taking a stray bullet or refusing to take cover, or even accidentally driving off the side of a cliff, a companion may attempt to get you back on your feet, or you have a slight chance of getting second wind if you're able to take out one of the attacking enemies. Though I do provision that driving yourself off a cliff means that you will not be able to have someone rescue you. I highly recommend you avoid dying at all costs, as the cost of dying is not only cold hard cash, but you will also be respawned at the nearest activated checkpoint, which sometimes may not be anywhere near where your current objective is. As you kill enemies, you may notice your ammunition depleting, whether it be from being a loose cannon or having to endure a long drawn out battle. Ammo can be replenished either by looting the various garbage receptacles and fecal matter depositories, opening chests, grabbing them off fallen foes, or buying them from a vending machine within one of the settlements. You do not want to run out of ammo, as this places you into a compromising position where you are unable to defend yourself and ready to accept a teabag. When you kill enough enemies, your character will level up, which increases battle capability as well as imparts skill points to be used in the skill tree that I mentioned earlier. Experience can also be gained by accomplishing tasks such as killing a number of a certain type of enemy with a certain weapon, or looting a certain number of objects, for example. These can be tracked on the same page as quests. It's worth pursuing these if you wish to level up quickly, as it makes some of the enemies far easier to deal with, being that in a first playthrough their levels don't scale. The graphical style of Borderlands is one of its most defining and recognisable features, largely due to its use of cel shading and a unique comic book inspired aesthetic. With bold outlines, exaggerated designs, and a stylised, almost pulp fiction vibe, Borderlands draws you into its comic book inspired world and doesn't let go. To counter the over-exaggeration of character features that highlight the brazenness of their personalities, especially in the bandits, the muted and washed out tones of the environments of Pandora seek to ground the player like the pull of gravity. The decision to embrace a cel-shaded comic book style was a risk at the time, but it paid off by giving Borderlands a unique visual identity that helped it stand out among other shooters with more realistic graphics. Whilst the presentation and dialogue of some of the characters gives the impression of a comedy, the struggles that a player must get through to reach these moments finally balances the palate like a well-paired wine and cheese. Or maybe a better pairing would be a fly and the cloying stench of rotten fruit. I did enjoy the fusion of sci-fi and Wild West in many of the themes and motives of the world, however did eventually get tired of the planet presenting a lot of the same in sand, gravel, rock and gore. I would have liked to have seen a bit more variation in the types of biomes, such as snowy areas, or even forests. The soundtrack was composed by a team of talented musicians rather than an individual, meaning that there is some eccentricity in the setting of the atmosphere, having dystopian tracks supported by those you'd expect from a Wild West film. The voice acting is also top-notch, grounding and keeping the player centered within the game's diegetic narrative. The tracks of the game are not my cup of tea, and not something that I would typically listen to outside of playing the game, so I don't really have a favourite that I can highlight at this time. Sorry. All in all, the tracks were appropriate for their locations and didn't drag me out of the immersive feel that it was going for. Borderlands is chaotic, absurd, and absolutely fun. Whether you are a seasoned gamer or, like my partner, someone who's getting the hang of aiming without spraying bullets into the sky, there's something undeniably satisfying about Pandora's hostile embrace. The cel-shaded art style gives the game an identity, and while the environments feel repetitive at times, the action and humour keeps things fresh. It's not just about hunting a mythical vault, it's about the journey through a beautifully broken world where the real treasure is the experience you share with your co-op partner. If you're looking for a gritty shooter with RPG elements, an addictive looting system, and a hefty dose of absurdity, then Borderlands is well worth your time. Just be sure to pack plenty of ammo, a sense of humour, and maybe a map for your partner. Borderlands may not care about your personal journey, but it'll leave you with some stories worth telling, and scars that you will wear with pride. So saddle up, Space Cowboy, there's a vault waiting for you somewhere out there, if you can survive. By the way, we are always on the lookout for fun couch co-op or multiplayer games. Are there any that you're having fun with at the moment? Even if they're new or classic or whatever, let me know in the comments. This has been Venwa with a review of Borderlands Game of the Year Edition for the Nintendo Switch. If you enjoyed this review, please like and subscribe for more great co-op content. As always, thanks for your time spent watching this video, I really appreciate you. Take care of yourselves, and bye bye for now.